Hey there. You know how much I love uncovering hidden gems of wisdom?
Right.
And today we're diving into Adam Grant's Give and Take.
Oh, good one.
Specifically, those excerpts you were curious about.
Okay. Yeah.
Ready to explore the surprising power of being a giver,
Mm-hmm.
even in a world that seems to reward the takers.
It's a fascinating topic.
Yeah.
And you might be surprised to learn that giving isn't just about being nice.
Mhm.
It's a whole strategic approach to success.
Interesting.
What we'll uncover together today are those different approaches to giving
Okay.
and how they can either help you climb to the top or, sadly, land you at the bottom.
Okay, so no pressure then.
Right.
But seriously, that's what intrigued me.
Right.
Grant doesn't just throw out feel-good advice.
Yeah.
He backs it up with research.
He does.
But this whole idea that givers can finish first,
Mm-hmm.
it seems counterintuitive.
It does.
Isn't there that saying, nice guys finish last?
Yeah.
How do we reconcile that?
That's the paradox Grant unpacks so well.
Okay.
He introduces us to givers, takers, and matchers, the folks who like to keep things balanced.
Yeah.
And while it's true, there's a risk of givers getting taken advantage of,
Right.
which we'll get to.
Okay.
Those at the very top often share a surprising secret weapon, generosity.
All right, I'm hooked. Give me an example.
Okay.
Does anyone embody this better than Adam Rifkin?
Right?
The guy's practically a legend in Silicon Valley, and
Yeah.
his superpower seems to be connecting people.
Precisely.
Really?
Rifkin's constantly offering help, making introductions.
Uh-huh.
And guess what? That's made him one of the most connected individuals in that world.
Wow.
He understands that success isn't just about what you get,
Yeah.
but also what you contribute.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not limited to tech either.
Right.
You see this in creative fields as well.
Oh, tell me you're going to mention George Meyer,
Yeah.
the comedic genius behind The Simpsons.
Exactly.
The guy's a legend and, by all accounts, the nicest guy in the room.
Meyer consistently put the show above personal recognition.
Wow.
Happy to rewrite, revise, and support others,
Uh-huh.
even when he could easily grab the spotlight.
See, that's what gets me. The success stories are great.
Yeah.
But what about those who dedicate themselves to helping others and end up feeling burned out or overlooked?
Right.
I immediately think of Lillian Bauer,
Okay.
the consultant Grant mentions. Yeah.
She poured her heart and soul into her work,
Mhm.
mentored everyone, and yet
Yeah.
it didn't really get her ahead, did it?
And that's where this other-ish giving comes in,
Other-ish.
which you, as someone interested in applying this, will want to pay close attention to.
Oh, okay.
Lillian's story is a cautionary tale.
Okay.
She never set boundaries. Other-ish is about being generous, but strategically so,
I like that.
making a difference without becoming a doormat.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's not about becoming a martyr to generosity,
Right.
but rather finding that sweet spot where you're helping others and setting yourself up for success.
Yes.
How does someone like Conry Callahan,
Okay.
Teach for America alum Grant mentions,
Yeah.
fit into this other-ish approach? Callahan's a great example of how a simple shift can make all the difference.
Okay.
She was burning herself out, trying to single-handedly save her struggling high school.
Oh, wow.
But instead of giving up entirely, she got strategic.
Oh, okay.
She started chunking her volunteer work.
Chunking.
Yeah.
What does that even mean in this context?
It means she dedicated specific blocks of time to her giving activities.
Okay.
This allowed her to see the tangible impact of her efforts
Yeah.
and avoid that feeling of just endlessly spinning her wheels.
Right. Right.
It's about sustainable generosity.
Yeah.
Something many of us struggle with.
And that's so key.
Yeah.
I can see how that would prevent burnout,
Right.
but sometimes it's not just about managing your own energy.
Right.
It's about recognizing when you're dealing with someone
Yeah.
who might be taking advantage.
Exactly.
Grant mentions Peter Audit,
Okay.
the financial advisor,
Mm-hmm.
who realized always bending over backwards for one particular client wasn't sustainable.
Yeah.
What should he have done differently?
Peter's story is a classic example of a giver needing to switch gears.
Okay.
Instead of constantly giving,
Right.
he needed to recognize when it was time to match.
Okay.
If someone's constantly taking a dick-off without reciprocating,
Right.
that's a sign you might need to reevaluate the relationship dynamic.
Yeah.
Now, you might be wondering, how do we even identify these takers before it's too late?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Right.
It's not always obvious who's a giver, taker, or matcher right off the bat.
You'd be surprised how many subtle cues we give off. Grant talks about this fascinating research on thin slicing,
Okay.
where just observing someone briefly can reveal their reciprocity style.
Interesting.
He even uses the example of Ken Lay,
Okay.
Enron's CEO,
Right.
and his annual reports.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Are you saying you can spot a taker just by looking at an annual report?
Yeah.
How is that even possible?
It's all about the signals we send,
Okay.
even subconsciously.
Okay.
Researchers found that taker CEOs, like Lay, were far more likely to have those large self-glorifying photos in their reports,
Oh, wow.
putting themselves front and center.
Really?
It's like they were taking attention.
So it's like those photos were a way of saying,
Right.
look at me, I'm the most important person here. And with social media today, those kinds of attention-grabbing tactics are everywhere.
Precisely.
Right.
We leave digital footprints of our reciprocity styles all the time.
Yeah.
But remember,
Yeah.
these are just clues, not foolproof judgments.
Okay.
It's about being observant,
Right.
noticing patterns in how people interact, and whether their actions consistently prioritize themselves over others.
This is all so fascinating, but it
Yeah.
also makes me wonder, if we do find ourselves dealing with a taker, is there a way to navigate that dynamic effectively?
Right.
Or do we need to become master negotiators, always on guard?
Yeah.
Because frankly, that sounds exhausting.
And this is where Grant turns our assumptions upside down.
Really?
You might think you need to be assertive, maybe even a little cutthroat
Yeah.
to deal with a taker,
Okay.
but he suggests otherwise.
Yeah.
Givers often have a surprising advantage in these situations.
What?
It's their powerless communication.
Powerless communication.
Yes.
Okay, you're going to have to explain that one
Yeah.
because it sounds like a contradiction in terms.
Think about it this way.
Okay.
When you approach a situation with genuine curiosity, asking questions, instead of making demands,
Yeah.
it disarms people.
Okay.
Instead of putting up walls, they're more likely to open up.
So it's about creating a space for dialogue and understanding
Right.
rather than engaging in a power struggle.
Exactly.
I can see how that might be more effective in the long run.
Yeah.
But do you have any examples where this actually worked?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Grant talks about Dave Walton,
Okay.
the trial lawyer,
Yeah.
who, believe it or not,
Really?
stuttered.
No.
You might think that would be a disadvantage in court,
Right.
but it actually made him more relatable to the jury.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
So what others saw as a weakness was actually his superpower.
Exactly.
It made him appear more human, more authentic.
Right.
Okay.
And there's Don Lane,
Okay.
the ad executive, with a quiet,
Mm.
almost hesitant style.
Okay.
In a high-pressure, fast-paced world known for big personalities,
Right.
he thrived by listening more than he spoke.
Wow.
People loved working with him because he genuinely valued their input.
These stories completely change how you approach communication, don't they?
Yeah.
It's not about putting on a show of power or dominance, but about genuinely connecting with people,
Right.
valuing their perspectives, and being open to collaboration.
Yeah.
But this makes me think, how do these principles translate to a larger scale,
Right.
like within a whole company?
Yeah.
Can a workplace actually become a breeding ground for generosity?
That's exactly what Grant dives into,
Okay.
the power of the collective.
Right.
He argues that a culture of giving
Okay.
can transform how an entire team or organization operates.
Right.
Even those who might naturally lean towards taking or matching
Right.
can get swept up in the momentum.
Yeah.
He calls it creating a virtuous cycle.
Okay. I like it.
Do you have any favorite examples of this in action?
Oh, yeah. Give us an example.
One that always stands out is the reciprocity ring. This exercise where people write down requests for help,
Right.
no matter how big or small,
Yeah.
and then everyone tries to fulfill them.
Yeah.
You'd be amazed how many seemingly impossible requests actually get granted.
You know, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
It's incredible how those shared goals
Right.
and that public commitment can unlock generosity in unexpected ways.
Absolutely.
But the reciprocity ring is just one tool, right?
Right.
Grant offers a whole toolkit for fostering a culture of giving.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's the love machine,
Okay.
which is all about creating a system for recognizing and celebrating acts of generosity within a team.
Okay.
It's like giving kudos,
Right.
but for going above and beyond for your colleagues.
Right.
And then there's Adam Rifkin's
Yes.
brilliant 5-minute favor concept.
Yeah. Oh, I love that one.
Yeah.
It's so simple yet powerful.
Right.
The idea is that you can make a real difference in someone's life or work with just a small gesture that takes 5 minutes or less.
Right.
Like sending an email introduction or
Yeah.
sharing a helpful resource.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about shifting the mindset from what's in it for me
Mm-hmm.
to how can I be helpful?
Right.
And when that becomes the norm,
Right.
it can spark a chain reaction of generosity.
It all sounds so inspiring.
It is.
But this brings up a question for me, and maybe for you listening too.
Okay.
Is there a risk of being too strategic with giving?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
to the point where it becomes less about genuine generosity
Right.
and more about trying to game the system?
That's a really insightful question.
Yeah.
And Grant doesn't shy away from those ethical complexities.
Okay.
He acknowledges that some people,
Right.
especially those who lean towards taking or matching,
Right.
might be tempted to use giving as a calculated means to an end.
Like they're keeping score,
Right.
always making sure they're getting something in return for every favor.
Right, exactly.
But as we've seen,
Yeah.
that kind of transactional approach to relationships can only get you so far.
It can't, exactly.
Uh-huh.
People can sense when generosity is genuine versus when it has strings attached.
Yeah.
And frankly, it's not a sustainable strategy for building trust or meaningful connections
Right.
in the long run.
Right.
Authenticity always wins.
So how can we ensure that our own giving is coming from a place of genuine care and a desire to contribute, rather than just trying to climb the success ladder?
Yeah.
How do we walk that line?
That's where self-awareness is key.
Okay.
It's about checking in with your motivations.
Okay.
Are you offering help because you genuinely want to make a difference?
Right.
Or are you hoping to get something specific in return?
Okay.
And remember,
Yeah.
it's okay to have a mix of motivations.
Sure.
Even if you benefit from an act of giving,
Right.
it doesn't negate the positive impact it can have.
It's that intentionality piece, isn't it?
It is.
Being mindful of why we choose to give.
Right.
This deep dive has really shifted my perspective.
Okay.
What stands out to you most from everything we've discussed?
You know, for me,
Yeah.
it's the reminder that we all have something to offer.
Right.
We all have unique talents, experiences, and resources that can be of value to others.
Right.
And sometimes the smallest acts of generosity can have the biggest ripple effects.
I love that. It's about tapping into that spirit of abundance.
Yes.
And recognizing that giving isn't about depleting ourselves.
Right.
It's about creating a more generous and rewarding ecosystem for everyone.
I love that.
So for you listening, we'll leave you with this. Think about your own network,
Okay.
your skills, and your resources. What's one small, other-ish act of generosity you can offer this week?
Right.
No need to overthink it.
Yep.
Just a simple gesture of goodwill.
I love it.
Food for thought.
Yes.
And until next time on our Deep Dive.